another interesting episode of Bookish Reflections. Good evening. I hope you've had a good day. Well, I am glad I am here today to talk with another interesting guest about something very important. Yes, we're celebrating African women writers, women who have blazed the trail in telling African stories, especially as it reflects to women. Of course, you know that March is a month where we celebrate women all over the world, and we all know that women play a very integral part in the development of society. And so I have taken this month to celebrate women all around Africa, especially those who write the stories that we'll be discussing today. I have a very wonderful guest with me in the studio. She will be talking with me and we'll be having a very good time discussing all around topics, especially as it relates to women. So I want to celebrate all the women writers out there, especially those from Africa. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for the stories you tell that keep the conversation going. And also, I would like to use this opportunity to also let you know that I run a book club, a platform basically where I have readers come together, read a book every month, and we discuss. Of course, there are other events we do, other side attractions that you might be interested in. So please, if you're really want to up your reading game and you're looking for a platform, the email address will just be in the link in the description. Please send us a mail and we'll be sure to reach out to you. And of course, we are taking care of every kind of reader, the fast readers and the not so fast readers. So you can be in tier 1 or in tier 2. In tier 1, you read a book every month, and in tier 2, you read one book in 2 months. But please make sure you participate when it's time, because participation is what keeps the club going. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do just click on the subscription button, like this channel, and also feel free to share it with your friends, and also turn on your notification buttons just for other videos that may come up. Yes, now it's time to go and head into the studio and discuss with my wonderful friend Feyisayo Oluokun as we look at how the stories of African women have been told through very wonderful authors that have gone before, and authors that are still here and still blazing the trail in African storytelling. Thank you. Hi, Feyisayo. Good
Hi,
evening.
hi, good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
So thank you for accepting my invitation. You know, you never really asked why your name came to mind.
I don't know.
I was just thinking about this episode, and I'm like, I need somebody in the. I think the only person or somebody who has had a literary experience, really, and a
Mm.
background in African literature will be the best person I would love to discuss this with. And so funny thing was like your name popped up. I'm like, yeah, Fisher, these are backgrounds. So let me just call her, and then you accepted. So thank you very much. It's
It's
March
my pleasure.
celebrating women, and so I
Mm.
just felt like this is the right time to talk about so many issues that women face. Although we know that these issues have been presented very clearly by African women writers. We can tell the stories better ourselves because we are the ones going through it. So in the spirit of celebrating African women writers, can you just like let me first ask, which African woman writer as a person has which of her books or what are the themes that she talked about that you felt like you connected with, just generally African women and their African women writers and what they present, and you as a reader, what have you found about them generally?
I think African women writers, the main reason that why they began to write was to correct this notion, like this
Mm,
misrepresentation of women in this text written by this male,
yeah.
because as they will say, nobody can talk about a woman like a woman. So these
Mm,
people, they began to paint pictures of women in a light, that did not sit well with this woman. So that's why they decided to somehow rewrite the history of women. Because if we continue to let these men represent us like this, some people might grow up as I mean some women now and feel that, oh, this is how it is. But they
mm,
should know that even from the days of the Joys of Motherhood. I'm talking about Buchi now.
yeah.
And this novel was actually written in 1979. So you can imagine
Yeah.
how far back it was. And look at the woman, the particular woman, Nnuego, in the text. See the complexity in that character. Uh, see how well written or how developed that character is. So you can see
Mm.
that African women, is not today this supposed emergence of the new woman, and and the modern woman and all of that.
Mm.
But if you look at this things, you know that even right from then, these people, they saw these things, and they were writing about it. So I think
Yeah.
if you talk about like in those days now, I would obviously think of Flora Nwakpa, Buchi
Yeah.
Emecheta, and
They have
all of them.
Akali, the
But
stillborn,
yeah. But in recent times, Lola Shoneyin, this Secret Life of Baba Seki's
Baba
Wife
Segi's
is one of the
wives.
books that it resonates with me all the time. I mean, even in my reality, I'm walking. I remember a line from the text, and I'm laughing to myself. I was sharing one of my friends recently about and this having male children and all of that. And one of the
Mm.
wives in the text, I think is Mama Femi. I can't remember her name now. The second wife, she had all boys for Babasegi. And then
Mm.
there was a line in the text that said that she sat and carried herself like let me say now, vagina was a milestone, like somewhere where male children were mined, like it was a gold mine, like.
Yeah.
So as in there's this pride, that women carry themselves with when they supposedly have male children that would take over the family name and all of that. So there are lots of characters in all. I can't. They are uncountable to me. Anyway, like any African writer, as long as she's a woman. See Adichie, Chimamanda Adichie, for example. All of her texts, there's none of them that you will read and it will not resonate with you over and over again. That this is beauty, this is brains, this is what the African woman should be all about. So that's
Mm.
basically, yeah.
Yes, and you're very correct about that. I really enjoyed Olashone's work. I think that book, in its whole comedy and all of that, there were so many things she raised, so many issues that people would you would be laughing, but you're thinking like, and this thing is true, this thing is actually real, and all of that. So you raised Joy Buchie Mecheta's work, and honestly, before we started recording, we had already spoken about it. And you said it's as if what she said in the 1970s is still happening today. How much of do you think that the African woman, how much of change, or what, how do I phrase it now? Do you think there has been significant changes in the perception of the African woman, especially since the time of the Mechetas, the Wapas, the Akalis and all of that? Has there been any significant improvement? If we can still see some of these issues raised in the 1970s, and then you're like, it's still happening now. Could it be that we are slowly moving towards change, or there has been a drastic change between then and
Well,
now?
well, I think the change is happening actually, but it's very gradual and slow because if you look at the joys of motherhood now, the issues that were raised there, women were seen as properties owned by the man. Okay, see for even when Unwego was the one catering to the whole need of her family, she was like the main source of livelihood for the whole family. And then she kept saying that her husband owned her. So, like in
Mm,
terms of ownership, now I think in terms of independence, the modern woman with as in we are liberated in that sense. Like that nobody owns you. You own yourself. You have a life. You can have a career. You can vote and all of that. But in terms of the actual role of a woman in the family, I think, in my opinion, I think the change is very slow in coming. Because, for example, now a woman is still regarded as an incomplete woman because she doesn't have children. See how devastated the character was in the beginning after she
mm.
lost the child. She almost killed herself. And
Yeah,
then,
she wants
even,
the bridge to jump.
yeah, Kesa Bridge, she almost flew over. And, even after she now began to have her children, that was when she regarded herself as a complete woman. Okay,
Mm,
see Adaku, the second wife, even though she had children, because she had just female children, she too was not regarded as a complete woman. As long as we continue to these stereotypes that women have been placed in, as long as we continue to dwell in these places, the change is very slow in coming. Because
Mm.
ironically, not only it's not only the men I mean now that put women in this stereotype. Even the older generation of women,
Yeah.
they try to put women in this stereotype. Let me share a story of one of my friends, for example. This girl has my colleague. She has four girls, four beautiful girls. If you see them, you will know that these children look like they were, they were well taken care of. But she's an Igbo lady, and her husband, I think, is the only son. For a long time, this girl had no peace in her home just because she did not have a guy. And then she was telling me she goes to Catholic church. So and she told me that some people in her church after church or so they will call her, tell her, Mama Ada, ah, go and if you want to have a male child, go and do this, go and people get given her unsolicited advices and all of that. This is someone that has four children, beautiful girls, and it was almost like she didn't have any. So
Mm.
and I'm talking about like in recent times. So what are we saying? So this notion is still very existent now. That when a woman does not have children, she's not regarded as a complete woman. Okay, see Inwego's character. After she had children, what happened? The
Mm.
responsibility of feeding the children fell on her.
Feel on
This
her,
became
yeah.
her. And
Mm.
that is why look at the title itself. See the ambiguity in it, the joys of motherhood. But are
Yeah.
you trying to tell me that she experienced any joy? Did
Mm.
she? And then the notion that this older generation have also that I'm supposed to invest all I have selflessly in my children so that in my old age they take care of me. You see that this lady's case, when as she began to grow older, she saw that it seems like these children are not going to they are not forthcoming.
Mm.
Her notion began to change also. She now thought, oh, okay, the
Mm.
joy of motherhood is not about my children taking care of me in old age, but it's seeing my children prosper, and all of that.
Mm.
These children that she worked so as she invested the whole of herself, she died alone.
Yeah.
So what is the joy in that? So my sister, I think as we say, there are changes in some aspects, but in some
Mm.
aspects, in some stereotypes, where women are regarded as, incomplete because of this notion, this, that, they are still existent till today. So let's continue to hope that maybe the change will come.
Yes, hope. And then we keep speaking out too, because honestly, things have to really change. And, there was something that I think Emecheta also underlined in that book, and it's sacredness to motherhood. It's like in Africa, there is a kind of, as much as there are so many issues regarding women. There is one that stands out to me, and how sacred they hold motherhood, such that even after Ego dies, she becomes a deity to speak. They start praying to her, and that
And then, sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt. Even in her death, she knew no peace because
mm,
people were praying to her. Like people that wanted children were praying to her,
children.
and when they don't get the children, what do they do? They blame her that she's a bad mother. That this is how can they pray to her? She not get. So you see, how can you be praying to
Yeah.
someone? We believe in spirits and all of that, but you're praying to somebody that is dead, and then you don't get children. You still blame her, even in death.
In
So
death, she has no peace. She's still at fault,
she
even
has
in
no
death.
peace. You know so all
Yeah.
the problems, it's like women we carry the blame for all the problems in the world. See,
Yeah.
when she had no children, she was a bad woman. After when her children began to misbehave, she's a bad mother. So imagine
Mm.
after one of our twins, Kende, when she went to
Yeah.
marry a young man, what did they
Yeah.
say? She didn't train the girl well
You
and
didn't
all of
train the
that.
child well.
You know. And then when they are bad now, then her husband now begins to say that
Yeah,
she
children.
and her children wants to kill him. you know and this is where did she get the children from?
Mm.
As she responded to him, she didn't bring any children from her father's house. All these children, you
Mm.
gave them to me. So as they say now, when a child is good, it's for the father, and when the
It
child
should
is
be
bad,
father.
it's
When
for
is
the
bad is for the mother.
you know.
And these are notions that are still very prevalent today. And sadly, even the so-called educated women still fall for some of these things, and it puts women in a tight corner. You see, it's like whichever way, you can never be right. I don't know how you, like, if you decide to do this, there is a fault, decide. It's like Ego could never get it right in society. She, for everything she did, for every action she took that looked like it was in the best interest, seemed to backfire, because the way the society has been constructed is like you can just not get it right. Or, I mean, maybe I read another meaning to it, or is it the
No,
same with you?
okay. No, let's take Ama Aitai those changes, for example.
Changes. Yes.
Talking about getting it right now. Let's look at AC, that main character. This
Yeah.
is an independent, successful young woman,
Mm,
that seems to have had it all. And then this is not even someone that is defiant against society. She got married, she had a baby. But okay, because she was concentrating more on her career. Why? Her husband rebelled because her husband wanted her to be the
another child.
traditional African woman. And she said,
Mm,
someone that has a master's degree, life has gone beyond this. They have one child. He wants her to have more than one. What happens? He raped her. So because of that, she decides to divorce him. So okay, this character seems to have she it appears that she had it all, but in the
mm,
long run, what happens to her?
mm,
After being alone for a while, she met Ali. Oh, she thought in her mind that, oh, after all I've been through with in my first marriage, this is the perfect man for me. He's independent. It will not. It's not like he doesn't care if she's a traditional African woman. Oh, and then she can go and be the second wife. She will have her freedom. She will have her freedom. She'll be able to do what she likes and so. But see what happens. That even later like boomerangs, because
mm,
what she supposedly likes in this man now begin to repel her, because it
mm,
now appears that he was too nonchalant. He had no time for the family and he had no time for her. After she married him, now she becomes lonely. So at
mm,
the end of the day, she's still not satisfied. So this is hard. The balance. I don't know.
mm,
I don't know how we can get it. It's just a few. And then even the woman in her life, see her grandmother, everybody keeps blaming her. All the women, aside her friend, Opu Koya,
Opu-
Odupe.
Okupuya also, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Besides her friend,
Okupuya.
besides that,
Mm,
her friend, like that had her back and supported her, but every other person in the book kept blaming her. They were not even Ali, the second husband's said mother, the woman that raised
mm,
Mandanjuma, even was against her. Why? When a woman is educated, when she's independent, she's strong, she's tagged a bad woman. Why? Yeah, they assume that she cannot keep her home, she cannot do this. So it's a long time coming. It's very hard to find the balance. When you think you have
yeah.
gotten the balance, okay, I'm educated, okay, I'm married, I have I I have children, it is just never enough. There is
Mm,
always something. You have
mm,
children, you have all girls, or you have all boys. There must always be something. So,
yeah.
but for the woman, there's always something. There's always something that she's not doing right. So
Mm.
it's very
You're
sad.
very correct, and it's very sad, really. And you made me think now that is Emecheta's time, and of course Amaita Aido falls within that time, because Amaita Aido too was writing in the 70s and the 80s. Now let's come to the
Mm-hmm.
modern, the ones we know, our generation of female
Okay.
writers, and of course Chimamanda Adichie comes to mind. Like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
like she's the one in the forefront. Of course, there are many others. There is Jennifer Makumbi, who I'm absolutely in love with, and her works are just phenomenal. And then there are other people also writing and clamoring for the society to begin to rethink the way they view the woman or the girl child and all of that. When you now look at the Chimamanda Adichies and like for me, the Makumbis, and okay, we can talk about the Nnedi Okorafor's and all the new contemporary writers. Let's talk about Adichie because she's more popular. What are the things she is writing differently? Do you think she's really different from the others, the past, the imagetars that started before her, or are there still similarities? Is it that we still have the same issues being addressed, although in a different style and manner?
Okay. As we know that literature is never written in a vacuum. It's always a
Mm,
reflection of what happens in the society. So as long as these are issues in the society, I think that these writers will always write about them. So plenty
Yeah.
of the issues that Buche Mecheta, Maita Edo, plenty of the issues they wrote about then are still very prevalent now. So these issues, I think plenty of these issues are what that are the things that Chimamanda treats in her text. But it's just that there are different styles of writing.
Mm,
Then this new generation of writers, they are bold. They're actually more. For example, when there are some texts that you will read from the older generation that they will not from the outright, they will not go outrightly to say that they are rewriting the story of the woman. They will just try to go around it, and try to write around a particular story. But Chimamanda Adichie, for example, or these recent writers will pick a female character and write about her from the beginning to the end.
mm,
And revolve the whole story around that so that you can know that, oh, this is a more conscious effort in
mm,
rewriting the story of the woman. Okay, for example, let's take the half of the Yellow Sun. Even though
mm.
the story is more about Biafra politics and all of that, but let's look at the female characters, Olana and her twin sister,
I
for
know, no.
example. See how, see how well developed these people are. See how independent they are. So these are not characters like Unwego, that are uneducated, that
Mm,
that feel that derive joy in living in the village and then get fetching firewood for the family and the hawking and all of that. These are educated women, well educated, have master's degree, well developed. So I think that in recent times, this new generation of female writers, they have actually gone a step further to because they are representing their realities.
mm,
So hardly this day, maybe in the village, I don't know about the village, but hardly this day would you find a woman that revels in, going to the farm and doing all those fire. So this is the reality. This is in today's age now. There are lots of independent young women. They
mm.
are they have and these women they are not. It's not all of them that carry this tag of, oh, I'm a feminist. No, these
No.
women they want to have it all. They want to have
Mm,
it down in the family front. They want to build a godly home for themselves. They want to have it down in their career, and they also want to gain the respect of the world. So these are the kind of
mm.
characters that what's the
Addiction.
Adije wrote about, and I think that she's doing well. Even in Nedi Okarafo, even though the John that she writes about is a little
Mm.
different from the one that
Science,
and and
African
and you
science.
know that is even a cool thing again. Like so you cannot have this in Africa. It
Mm,
seems like this thing is just supposed to be for the white, and then these are the ways that we're enjoying them. But I've read a few of her texts, and I could not even wait to read the next one because
mm.
as in it is so captivating. And then I'm thinking, oh, these characters are all Africa, as in Africans, I mean. So it's really great, and it's even a bold move on their part
Yeah.
to be able to go outside this supposed, because this some of these issues have been overflogged, and then they are not even these people or these men or the world. They feel that when they see a female writing, they assume already that women issues again. We have heard you people are being subjugated, you are being this, you are being that. But no, so you cannot assume about the present writers because they have
Yeah.
gone out of the box to
Yeah.
explore, and they are in fact they are doing very well. They are doing very well. So I feel that the current or the present African writers, the young ones, I'm trying to remember this. Ayobami, is it Ayobami Adebayo?
Adebayo, stay
Um,
with.
as in, imagine that story. That story seems like this issue has been overflowed. This issue has been overflowed. This issue of infertility and all of that. But look at it from that angle. That's when I read that text, I cried and cried and cried. It resonates with you, as in this current writers, they write with so much empathy, and it's just very sweet.
Yeah, the stories. And you when you talked about "Stay with Me" by Ayobami Adebayo, I felt like I could see a dynamic shift in how African women writers now begin to write about infertility. Over time, infertility has always been, or in the recent, or in the past, has always been seen as a problem of the woman. And then Lola
Mhm.
Shune comes in with the secret life of Baba Saji's wife and quickly takes our mind to where we should also be looking at that infertility can also be a thing of the man. And
Mhm.
then you then read Ayobami and you see that kind of thing. And it looks as if now these writers are beginning to say, look, every problem of womanhood in terms of childbearing doesn't necessarily rest on the shoulders of the woman, because that's the
Mhm.
automatic thing. I was reading there's this other book, The Girl with the Loudest Voice. And
Yeah,
somewhere there was
I read that. I read that. You know, I'm sorry to interrupt. Plenty of the books you recommend, once I see your updates, plenty of the books you recommend in your status, you know, I'm a voracious with I can't help myself. This is how I keep people. I just quickly go and download them. In short, the recent one, this Violetta you've been
yeah,
raving about, I already downloaded it. I read like the first two chapters or so. I'm not yet done with it. So better believe any book you put up on your status, I've read them. So
yay!
I mean, that girl with the louding voice, you know, that text is just wow. As in, and then sorry to interrupt. I like the way these books end now because you know, as a writer, most of the time they are tempted to have a tidy end. Okay,
Mm.
just take like half of Yellowstone for example now. The way Kainene, we never heard about what happened to
In
Kainene. We
fact, we
don't
are
know
still
if
looking
she
for kindness
survived.
now. Everybody is still
You
looking.
know, till tomorrow. So you know, and then you know, as a writer, there's always that urge to tidy up the end, or like everybody lives happily ever after. But this is not the reality because these things people are going through infertility problems even till tomorrow, and some of them have not even found a solution to it. So I like the
Mm,
way you know stay with me. So I like the way this text they are more realistic because you
mm,
know you understand as in like it doesn't have to be tidy because
yeah.
life is not tidy, so but it is just
Mm-hmm.
life. So see
Yeah.
that girl with the louding voice, imagine as in, and then you will think that these things don't happen but they do happen. And
Yeah.
then some and like why some people get help like the way she did, some of them don't get help and they
Yeah.
end up doing that for almost the rest of their lives, you know, and all that.
Mm.
So these things they are, what can we say about things like this? You
We'll
know,
keep speaking until we get the desired change that we want. And you know, I was yeah, I was talking about infertility and how women are
okay,
treated, especially
okay.
when childbearing is either delayed for some time, and how much her hold over her home is dependent on whether she's able to bear a child. And in that, the girl with the louding voice, the name of the woman that even helped Aduni, can't remember her name now, just came to my mind.
Mm,
She
mm,
was her mother-in-law was taking her to every spiritual house, doing
mm.
everything to
And
make
they
her
flogged
happy.
that they almost killed her.
Yes, locked
Hey,
the life out
Jesus.
of her, only to discover again, only to discover
Hmm.
that the problem lied with the man.
You,
And
you know,
how
the
much?
woman is even very forgiving. As in, for someone
Mm,
like me, it would be difficult to forgive such a man because he
mm,
knew he's
yes,
wrong.
he did. Because society will not accept that a man can be weak in some areas. And that is the truth.
Mhm,
Why can't we
mhm,
accept our frailties, whether as a man or a woman? If, for example, the man has the problem, does he have to hide it to protect face? And that is why in literary studies now we have things now coming up called masculinity, the expectations that are placed on the shoulders of the man too can be very very burdensome. They
mhm.
can't cry, they can't express themselves
Express their
because
emotions.
they have to be strong. And then a
Mm,
woman has to take the burden of being the one with the problem if she's
mhm,
infertile. And then she then when she behaves, like maybe when she cries or she's emotional, they say it's hysteria. So that women is hysterical. So like I said, we just can never get it right with society. But how do we begin to speak to these things in society? What can change? I for one believe that women are the ones that can actually change the story. You know, there was something that this lady Sojourner Truth said. I learned in American literature, African American literature, and I can't forget it. I listened to Sojourner Truth's speech, and she said, if people say that the world was turned upside down by a woman, then it will take a woman to turn it right side up.
Right.
And I'm like, well, so I feel like it is up to us to tell our stories, to say that it is,
Mhm.
and that's what these writers are doing. But apart from the telling of our stories, what can change, especially in perceptions? They say gender is a social construct. The expectations placed by society on each gender, on the man and on the woman. Where can we begin? Where would the change come from?
I think, in my opinion, I think the change has to begin with the woman. It has to begin with the woman. Okay, and that is what these writers are actually doing. They are recreating and rewriting the history because the next generation will judge us from all these
Mm,
things that are happening right now. You know,
yeah.
just the way we are judging the older generations about
Mm,
how how they were, how they helped uh, patriarchy to thrive. You understand? We are judging them because it's true. They helped suppress other women, and they helped it to thrive. So this present generation, the next generation will judge us. How well did we handle these things? And then this issue of silence
mm,
when it comes to infertility is
mm,
is 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 a serious issue because because of the shame that is
mm,
attached to this. And then I'm thinking it's just because we are Africans. Because I don't think in Europe some people even decide not to have children. And
yeah.
then in Africa, if you decide not to have children, they will ask you, eh? So if
Is
you're
there
what if your parents
something?
what if your parents have decided not to have you? You know,
Mm,
because they feel that, oh, because they have you, you must have. And it's not for
mm,
everybody that way. And then because of all this expectation that's been placed on these men also too, they find it difficult to talk about these things. And then the shame. So that's why a woman is supposed to be able to bear the shame. What you are saying
yeah.
now reminds me of an acquaintance. Okay, I can call her. Okay, she used to be a friend. But it's been a while I spoke to her. After she got married and they didn't have children for a while, this girl, she assumed that she was the one with the problem. As if
Mm,
without even running tests, she began to run helter skelter, treating herself. After she treated herself for a while, she just had to go and run the test. And she ran the test and they said that everything was fine. She was like, what? So she had to force and impress on her husband to go and run the test. And they saw that he was the one with the problem. Do you know what
mm,
the husband told her? That don't tell my family members, don't tell anybody that I'm going with the problem. And then the
mm,
family will come to the house and they begin to pray for her. God will do it, God will do it. She said she was just looking at him in anger that, why can't we?
mm,
Why can't, before she left. I know this is
mm,
so. This is a present reality because before it seems somehow like a woman is not supposed to. She cannot leave. Like she
mm,
doesn't have the priority to leave if you are not being abused. If you are not
mm,
sorry, there's no
yeah.
reason for you to leave. You know, but this my friend left because
Mhm,
she said that he was not even willing to get help. So okay,
mm.
see, Ayobami's stay with me. See
Stay
the
with
same
me.
story. So
Yeah.
and then see this the girl with the loudest voice that we are talking about. Everybody assumes that it is the woman that has a
It's the
problem.
woman.
You
Yeah.
know. So and then even after, maybe they now get to know that it is the one that has a problem. There's this silence around it. We're
Silence.
supposed to keep quiet. We are supposed to no, don't shame your husband that way. And then everybody
The
looks
woman
as
takes
if
the shoe.
you
Mm,
know so it is. I think it has to begin with us. So when we
mm,
begin to and then cause and it is just this is because of the way society has made us. Because imagine that even a woman decides to leave that kind of marriage, people will look at her that what is it that you the first one with the problem? How can you
mm.
leave? So even when you leave, they shame you.
And
So
if
it's
you
a
stay, you
problem.
are ashamed because you don't have the child. Right?
So
It's just,
these things
yeah.
they are still very evident even till today. So we have to just the change has to begin with women. We have to. Okay. For example, when a young bride when someone gets married newly and she's yet to have children, in my whole life I have not seen a man walk up to another woman, somebody else's wife, even if the person is your brother, I've never
Mm.
heard a man walk up to a girl to say, a woman to say, how far? How come? What is happening? But it is a woman that will
Mm.
come and jokingly say that, how far now? We want to come and eat rice now. Or some of them will ask you point blank, your aunties, your supposed mother,
Mm.
they are supposedly asking you in good faith. But
Yeah.
so we are the ones that unnecessarily put pressure on ourselves.
Pressure.
So
Yeah.
so it is still this older generation. We have to continue to tell them, and not older generations too. This unfriendly friend, we have that will come and ask you and put unnecessary pressure on you, and then you now begin to wonder that what is happening, even when your husband is not bothered. So these are realities. So women, as they say, we are our own. We are one of the major problems that we have. So if we have to do better. We have to do better. People go through different things. People can decide not to have children. People might be going through fertility problems. It is not your business. Don't put pressure on somebody else by asking them foolish questions about things that don't concern you. It's a problem. So the change has to begin with us. I think. I think.
Thank you. I really enjoy. Do you know I was just enjoying you talking. Like I
Oh.
wasn't even looking at my time. Like I said 20, 25 minutes. I was so engrossed in this conversation. Thank
Ah.
you so much. It's enlightening, and it's also a time for us, I think, for women generally to begin to wake up and realize that we can change our stories, and it until our voices are loud and loud enough, and we scream to the rooftop that there is a problem, probably before people will begin to hear us. But I think people are hearing. It is whether people are acting on what they are hearing. That's where I think the issue is. And I'm going to have you again because there are still so many books to discuss. There are so many books with so many issues to talk about, and I enjoy talking about these things with people every time. That is why, if you're like you said on my status, when I like a book, when there's I always want to raise it because I'm interested in engaging people in conversations, because I believe that's how society grows, when we hear from one another and we are able to, put some of these things to action. Thank you so very much. And I hope when I call you again, you will be there,
Of
because I'm
course, of
definitely
course, of
calling you
course.
again. Thank you so much, Feyisayo, for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking time. I don't take it for granted, but I know you have a busy day ahead, or you had a busy day. So for you to be here, it means a lot to me. So I will see you another time. Very,
Thank
very.
you
It's
so
been
much. It's always a
very.
pleasure talking to
Yeah.
you,
I
especially
will.
about books.
Yes,
We
books,
love
books.
it.
Thank you. I was going to ask, if you were to recommend a book that somebody has to read before they die, which book would you recommend? I always like
Hey,
asking.
Jesus. Hey. I have, do you know, if I can't keep, I read so many books, as in, I can't keep record of them. And when this particular book is my current reality, as like it's a book that's written in my life. I read the whole season and then it's gone. I've forgotten. So I really, it's very difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult. So
Okay.
the books that are reading in my life right now, I'm reading. I don't know if you're the one that recommended. I don't know who recommended this writer, Sarah J. Moss. I don't know
Oh,
who recommended.
Sarah J. Maas. She's
Yes.
is it she's a fantasy writer. She has
Yeah.
written Six of Crows, The Crescent and the Star. So many.
Eh,
She writes in
yeah.
series.
So yeah, the Court of Thorns and
Yes.
Roses. So those are the books I'm reading right now. I've read the whole series. I've finished one series. I've finished like two
Wow.
series. I'm on another one. And each book has like seven or this thing they keep me up at night. I can't help it. And I've been reading.
Let me
So
also
I
point out to people that you are a mom, you work, and you are able to read. So it's possible, because I get a lot of people telling me that they can't read. But I'm just saying that everybody doesn't have to read like you, but that if you want to do it,
that is, yeah, that is, for example, for me now, that's how I unwind. That is what I do,
mm,
as that's how I unwind. So I can't help it. In short, once
yeah.
I go after the whole family has slept, as in I read to like maybe 12 or 1 before I now go to sleep. I will
Oh,
take it up
nice.
next day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, that would
Thank
inspire
you
some
for
other
having
women who
me.
are finding it difficult to also cope with their reading. So I'll see you another time.
Thank
Bye for now.
you. Yeah,
Bye.
bye. See ya.